Hello and welcome to this News 9 special ahead of the T20 series between India and West Indies. India sailed over West Indies in the ODI series, but when it comes to T20s, one can never count West Indies out. Joining me in today's discussion is veteran journalist Jaideep Ghosh and our correspondent Shubhayan Chakravarti. Both gentlemen are in Kolkata. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Without further ado, let's get into the thick of things. India versus West Indies T20s in Kolkata. Shubhayan, you are in Kolkata. Let's start with you. How do you think the team is prepping up? What is the preparation? You just attended a press conference of Rohit Sharma. So what's the news from the press conference?
Before I go to the press conference, Abhishek, this is going to be an exciting series, far much competitive than what the ODI series was. That I can say, going by how the West Indies are preparing. I was there at the Eden Gardens, but for a brief time yesterday, and I saw Virat Kohli taking the nets, hitting the nets first, and he batted for more than 1 hour. I can confirm yesterday. So, these boys, Rahul Dravid was the first one to go to the center wicket and check how the curator is doing his job with the track there. So there is quite an intrigue before the T20 World Cup, and even today in the press conference you can see Rohit Sharma. There's a clear perspective that they want to build the team for the T20 World Cup. They don't know whether which player will be fit or not, but they are shortlisting. They are circling around the players who will be there in the reckoning for the T20 World Cup. So I guess under Dravid and Rohit Sharma, the team is clear what they want to achieve, and it is going to be an exciting series. This is just the start, I would say.
Clearly, this is going to be an exciting series. Jaideep, I would like to hear from you. More than this series, particularly this series, it's about building the team for the future. The World Cup, T20 World Cup is just 8 months away. There are several question marks on who would be that chosen 11. But India, barring that T20 World Cup hiccup, they have a formidable record in the T20s, right, Jaideep?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, see, the thing here is that all the series that we are going to play before the T20 World Cup are going to be experiments. So there will be a lot of changes in the terms of, the playing 11. You will have, you will have situations where a guy who's done well might be dropped in the next match simply because you want to, try out somebody else. That said, also one very important thing is that all in series in India nowadays are played in two chapters. One is pre-IPL auction and one is post-IPL auction. So the stress factor for the guys who are not in the the guys who have not been retained, they are always a little worried about whether they're going to make it into one of the franchises.
True.
Because otherwise, with domestic cricket, and you know how domestic cricket is.
Right.
So the thing here is that the guys who have been selected, who have got their franchises and your purses, they are much more relaxed in terms of their performances against West Indies, or even for West Indies for that matter. The guys who have got their deals will maybe be a little more chilled out. And West Indies is a good challenge always for T20s because they are a kind of team who I don't know what their logic is or why they are falling backwards in Test cricket and one days.
Right.
But I guess the short attention span and the short format works for them fine, especially because they all work for these various franchises that they play various leagues, T20 leagues. So there will be a challenge for sure, and it's a bit of a challenge and a bit of an experiment in terms of the T20 World Cup. Both should be working for India.
Right, very interesting point there. Pre-IPL and post-IPL, mind you, 10 players from this Indian squad, they bagged multi-crore deals, in the IPL mega auction that happened over the weekend. But we'll discuss at length about the possible team combination, possible experimentation that India is going to do in this series. But before that, let's take a look at what Rohit Sharma brings to the table. After the ODI series against West Indies, his first victory as a full-time ODI captain, this series is the start of another experimentation phase. You can see on the screen, he's among the best captains when it comes to T20s. He's number 3, 99 wins as captain in T20s. That includes, of course, his IPL record as well. And one more win, he will have his 100th win as a T20 captain. In fact, in T20I is also his number 4. He's just second to Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli among Indian captains. Of course, Kane Williamson and Owen Morgan, they have 15 wins each at home. I would like to hear from both of you, Shubhayan and Jaideep. This is a crucial time for Indian team, right? I mean, though Rohit Sharma said that it's not about transition or something like that, it's about selecting players for the World Cup. Rohit Sharma should put up a strong face, brave face, and lead the team forward. You know, there was so much confusion over Virat Kohli's form, middle order, spin combination. How crucial is this time, you know, this 2-3 home series, and especially against West Indies, then Sri Lanka comes in, then Afghanistan comes in, these 3 home series for Rohit Sharma, the captain. Shubhayan, you can go first, and then Jaideep.
Yes, Abhishek, firstly, Rohit Sharma was very, very clear that the IPL mega auction excitement, you know, money, huge money can excite a lot of talents, and they sometimes, many a times, get derailed to what the focus is in front of them. So Rohit Sharma was very clear that that there is 2 months of IPL, but 10 months of international cricket, and he wants all the players, although there will be emotional moments, he wants all the players to focus on just one color, that is color blue of the Indian team. He was very clear about that, and I guess the brief given to the Indian team would be the same here. And Rohit Sharma as a captain, we have all seen what he is capable of in the IPL. He has managed some great teams. Even when he has not had some great teams under his helm, he has managed to get the best out of them. So that is the best of qualities that Rohit Sharma brings to the table as the captain, and it's a great quality to have an easygoing captain like MS Dhoni was back in the days when he had his hotel room unlocked for anyone to come in at any time of the day. So Rohit Sharma brings that similar trait to the table, and he will be very critical in terms of leading the team into that T20 momentum ahead of the World Cup. And coming to the thing that Joydeep had mentioned, that experiments would be there, and when many players are going to be dropped from the team despite performing well, and this is where Rohit Sharma had emphasized precisely in today's press conference, that experiment. He precisely said, that was my question in the press conference, and he had precisely said that experiment is an overrated word. He's just trying to fill out the holes that are present in the T20 team, and we all have analyzed the Indian T20 side for a while now, and we all know that there are gaping holes in that team, and this is what the focus is going to be on the road to the T20 World Cup.
Right, some gaping holes, as Shubhayan says, and India needs to fill them up, Jaideep. But one major hole, if we may call it, is Virat Kohli's form. Though in T20Is, if we see, his form is not that bad. In fact, it's one of the best among the Indian batters. Today, Rohit Sharma gave a pretty strong reaction in the press conference when he was asked about Virat Kohli's form. In fact, he pointed fingers at the media persons. He said, if you can keep quiet for some time, then maybe Virat Kohli will return back to form. Your take on that, Jaideep?
The media is not going to keep quiet, so he has a wishful thinking. That is not going to happen. My point here is that, the Virat Kohli's form is a very relative term in the sense of he has not scored in triple figures. That is what we call bad form for Virat Kohli. True. He's just scored 2 half centuries in South Africa against a much better bowling attack than the one that West Indies is going to present here. So lack of form is a very relative term. Yeah, true. I do understand that he has a few things distracting him. He's not completely focused on his batting, which is pretty evident. And I'm sure this captaincy saga and the way it was all handled has affected him a little way. But I would assume that with time that will all come to rest. And he has a lot of opportunity now to prove his point here now against Sri Lanka. I mean, there are series coming that he can, come back into the groove. He's never out of the groove ever. True. I mean, he gets a 40-45. That people say is bad form. Yeah, you can get out in 2 balls. That is for everybody. That's not even a consideration. Yes, but you'd like him to be more consistent, and more importantly, you like him to retain his strike rate, which has gone down a little bit in limited overs. True. Again, for the same factor, I guess. I mean, it's basically he's trying to prove to people. He doesn't need to prove anything. He just has to go and play his game. Right. The rest will come and fall in place as it is, and I think Rohit Sharma in that direction is very correct, that it's nothing to do with form. He's just too good a batsman. Give him a little bit of time and he'll be back. Right. I mean, one brief trivia, that might entertain
Virat Kohli fans is that the last time Virat Kohli batted at the Eden Gardens, he scored his last triple figure mark. He reached his last triple figure mark against Bangladesh in November 2019. That was very correctly put by Jaideep, that it's a relative term. He's just not reaching those triple figures. But if we see his performance after that century at Eden Gardens in November 2019, he has scored a half century in almost once in every 3 matches. He has scored a half century. It's just that he has not scored the centuries. But apart from Virat Kohli, Shubhan and Jaideep, there are certain other factors too. Like KL Rahul, had he been fit, I mean, he would have been #1 choice to open with Rohit Sharma in the T20s. He's not there in the T20 series because of a hamstring injury. And there are quite a few interesting options there. Ishan Kishan, he's the front runner. Then we have Venkatesh Iyer. We have Ruturaj Gaikwad, the IPL 2021 top scorer. Jaideep, I mean, who among these three, do you think should open with Rohit Sharma tomorrow? Should it be Ishan Kishan? He's a safe bet. He had already opened in the ODI series, the first ODI against West Indies. He is a senior pro too. He has just got his, the biggest deal in the IPL 22 auction. But there's an interesting choice in Venkatesh Iyer too, and also Ruturaj Gaikwad. Jaideep, you can answer that.
I would safely assume that Ishan will be playing in the first match, for sure. But then again, like we were saying, that there is no guarantee that the same 11 will be playing even two matches consecutively. But as things stand now, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't go in with Ishan and Rohit, because they have performed. Again, we're coming back to the IPL, but they have shown their wear at the top of the order against some pretty stiff bowling. So that is a factor that we have to consider. Ruturaj Gaikwad, yes, maybe, but I don't think he'll be fielded in the first match. Maybe later in the series or subsequent series. These guys will need to pick up a little bit of the ethos of the team and the entire culture of Team India instead of just franchise cricket. So there is a little bit of adjustment in that. But I would assume that the opening will be the right-left combination of Rohit Sharma and Ishan.
Right. And when the top order, it's like Rohit Sharma, Ishan Kishan is the clear front runner. Of course, #3, Virat Kohli comes in, and then India have two good options in Surya Kumar Yadav and Shreyas Iyer. But when Rahul comes in, of course, Pant is also there. All these guys comes in. One among the two would have to sit out, right? And Shubhan, what is the way forward? Is there a way where both these players, Shreyas Iyer and Surya Kumar Yadav, can be fit into the playing 11? We all know their capabilities. Shreyas Iyer, cool head. He made a great test debut against New Zealand. He scored a century. Surya Kumar Yadav, of course, with his unorthodox shots. He's a great T20 player. Is there a way where we can fit both, Indian team can fit both in the playing 11?
In T20, I'll be very firm that they can't, both Shreyas Iyer and Surya Kumar can't play together. That is for sure. In T20s, in ODIs, they can still find a way to fit them both. But in T20s, given the sort of cricket they both play, I don't think Shreyas Iyer and Surya Kumar Yadav can both fit into the playing 11, because they are single-dimensional players. They can't bowl full-fledgedly in international circuit. Yes, they may have bowling experience in domestic cricket, but in international cricket we haven't seen them bowl a bit. And India at the moment are looking to groom multi-skilled players, and that is why Harpreet Brar is with the Indian setup. Rishi Dhawan is with the Indian setup, and these guys are being seen whether they can come into the scheme of things. If say Hardik Pandya is not fit ahead of the World Cup, or Venkatesh Iyer fails to replicate the same sort of form in international colors. So, there are a lot of deliberations right now that is going on in the Indian camp. But to your question, I don't think Surya and Shreyas can fit in. But I would come in here and say that Ruturaj Gaikwad might just edge Ishan Kishan for the first T20I, because from the second T20I, KL Rahul will return, KL Rahul is out injured, but for the first T20, I think Ruturaj Gaikwad might just edge Ishan Kishan, given the fact that Rishabh Pant is available in this series and is likely to keep wickets and is expected to keep wickets for the entirety of the series.
Right up, Shubhan. Yeah, you mentioned a great point. India is looking to groom, groom youngsters or players, who have multi-skilled. That's why you find the likes of Deepak Chahar, Harshal Patel, all those. But There's another team too which is playing the series, and that's West Indies. I mean, you can never count them out, right? I mean, in T20s, their form has not been really great in the last 15 matches. You can see it on the screen. They have won just 4 matches out of 15. But still, you know, with the kind of match winners that they have, Kieran Pollard, Jason Holder, all those guys. I mean, I'm in the IPL auction, you know, 15 West Indies players they got the bag deal. It's the most for any overseas team. So, Jaideep, this would not be an easy selling for India, right? Like the ODIs.
I hope not, because see, very honestly, ultimately, if you're going to play cricket and if you're not getting some sort of a challenge, then it takes off from your edge.
Right.
So it doesn't really serve any purpose.
Right.
But West Indies being the team that it is, you will most probably have one man who's going to take it away from India. I mean, it's not a team that is going to combine and, you know, give you a win. There'll be one Pollard, or there'll be one Holder, or maybe even one Nicholas Pooran, who on his day can completely, you know, decimate any attack. And that is the only factor that could take something of this match away. I mean, 20 over cricket is a very short span, and if somebody takes over and, you know, bats well for, let's say, even 7-8 overs, then it becomes a little difficult for the oppositions to recover from that. And second thing is that I think the win for West Indies will come from the batsmen, not from the bowlers, because if at all they can chase down maybe some score. Defending scores is, I don't think they're fought anymore, and we've seen in the ODIs also that they are struggling to cross even 100 with the batsman. So it will need for one guy to just take over and finish it. That is the only way they're going to win. That said, they are always a competing side, and you never can write them off. On a one fine morning, somebody will wake up from the wrong side of the bed, and that will be good enough for the team to win one match.
Right. And before we sign off, you know, one final question to both of you gentlemen. Your prediction for the series, you know, your final prediction, initial prediction for the series scoreline. Jaideep, what's your prediction?
2-1 for India.
2-1 for India. And Shubhan?
I'll go with the mood in the camp. 17 players picked for the IPL from the West Indies camp. I'm going 2-1 for West Indies this time.
2-1 says 2-1. Both gentlemen says. Jaideep says it's going to be India. Shubhan says it's going to be West Indies. We'll have to wait and watch. Starting from tomorrow, the first T20, we'll be covering that match live. Do log on to news9live.com for more news on sports. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. Thank you and goodbye.